Hello. My name is Jillian McGarry. The Upper Lakes team invited me here, which was very nice, so thanks for having me. I started a company called Mostly Made. We make enchilada filling and lasagna filling, so it's a different idea. Normally you get a tray of enchiladas, you microwave it, or you put it in the whole pan in the oven. With mine, you're getting the filling, and then you add the fresh ingredients so that you're able to make it taste homemade, make it taste kind of fresh. So what you're eating is our burrito bowl made with an enchilada filling. So you just take your brown rice, you add your hot enchilada filling, corn, any kind of toppings kids want, and then you're off. It's very similar to something you get at like Chipotle or one of the more trendy restaurants, but it doesn't assemble in very much time. So I don't have a background in food. My background was actually in online advertising, and I got roped into this whole idea. 4 years ago, my sister-in-law was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I started bringing her family meals. But pretty soon, those big 9x13 baking dishes wouldn't fit in her freezer. And so I had to get creative. And one day I was making a whole big batch of lasagna, and I had spent the whole day chopping the veggies and browning the sausage. And all of a sudden, I looked down and I was like, well, that's the hard part of cooking. Why can't you just buy that? That's the part that takes the time. She could assemble the meal in like 5 or 10 minutes without having to do that. So I was just bringing her then the fillings, and each one would stack nicely in her freezer. She could pull it out, have a quick meal whenever she needed it, and be ready to go. And with my sister-in-law, she was trying to avoid dairy and gluten, so she was trying to eat more veggies, and she loved it because she could put it in a spaghetti squash, she could put it in a stuffed pepper, kind of customize it. So this is my family. Those are my 2 kids who are now first grader and third grader. We go to the Minnetonka schools. So. All of the recipes are very kid tested because for 4 years I worked on this idea and my kids had to endure many meals with it, and so it's very, very kid tested. These are some of my kids' favorite meals. So stuffed peppers, the loaded nachos, the enchilada filling, and then those burrito bowls, which you guys are sampling now. All of our fillings are fully cooked, so the meat is fully cooked. It's pre-shredded or pre-mixed in. And then you would assemble it with the whole grains and the cheeses. So that's what gives you your meat and your meat alternative, and then your whole grains. So it's a complete meal once you add those other meal components. This is what our grocery store packaging looks like. So we are at Kowalski's, Festival Foods, Lakewoods Co-ops, Seward Co-op, and pretty soon we'll be launching in Coborn's. Wow. Well, just 6 stores, so don't get too excited. But this is what they look like. Everything that we make is certified gluten-free, so we're making it in Minneapolis. So it's locally made, and then the meat we're sourcing is also local. So we're using the Gerber Amish chicken in the burrito bowls, which comes from Iowa, areas around Minnesota, antibiotic-free, humanely raised. And then we're using a St. Paul, Minneapolis brand for the sausage and the lasagna filling. So because we, started out the idea of bringing meals to my sister-in-law, we wanted to keep it going. So we give one meal portion to the Ronald McDonald House for every case that we sell, and that would continue in the food service packages as well. This right here is actually my sister-in-law, so she's now 3 years cancer-free. Great. And she's a Wyzetta grad. Yeah. Nice. My husband. Yes.
Did everyone get one?
I did. Sure.
You did.
You got some of that. Yeah. Yeah. So the one that you're tasting now is the bolognese. So that's with our lasagna filling. All I added to that was crushed tomatoes, and then I topped it with Parmesan cheese. Both flavors can be frozen for 18 months or thawed for 7 days. There's no chopping, no raw meat, so it's food safe. And the meals can be prepared like on just a few minutes compared to if you were starting from scratch, the hours of labor that would have to be. You would add your cheese, add your meat, and we provide a bunch of different recipes. So we've got recipes for stuffed peppers, for the bolognese, for skillet pasta, all kinds of different ways to put it together. And they're packed in a boil-in-a-bag pouch. So you can do that in a steamer, you can do it in a pot of water, you can just leave it overnight in the fridge if you want to have a, a day before prep. Our enchilada filling, this serving size is for a 4-ounce serving, which is what that formulation statement is for. So that would give you the 1 ounce of meat alternative credit, and then when you add the cheese, it would give you the 2, so that would let you have your full meal requirements. Low in sodium, so we're only 300 milligrams of sodium for that portion, which lets you work within the guidelines, and no added sugar either, so it's a nice, clean, healthy product. The enchilada filling also has a 1/4 cup of veggies. And then if you're gonna add toppings, like the tomatoes or lettuce or whatever, it's also adds another 1/2 cup or what you need to get to your requirement. The chicken meat we're using, again, is the Gerber Amish, antibiotic-free, humanely raised. Any questions on this one?
Very good.
How do we get samples?
I have some. Here, if you want.
Taking some home. Yeah. So they did kind of tell them already about how you're not currently packaging the 4 pound, but that's.
And I actually have a poll on the next slide.
Oh, perfect.
So the lasagna filling is the one that you tasted second on the pasta that was made into a bolognese. All I added was a crushed tomato to it, that's it. That one is also gluten-free. It's 20% creditable meat, 42% other vegetable. And we did that because if you're making a lasagna, you're gonna use like a 3-ounce serving in there. If you're making it into a bolognese, you might use a 5 or 6-ounce serving. So it lets you customize it to whatever your meal pattern is. And then the poll, would you prefer 4-pound bags, 8-pound bags, or 22-ounce bags, which is what our retail is. The 22-ounce bag fits a 9x13 pan, perfect for home cooks. The 4-pound bag actually fits a full-size steam pan, so it'll make 32 enchiladas that will fit nicely in that pan and everything. You don't have to measure or like use half a bag in one pan and half a bag in the other. And then the 8-pound bag. So if you were to choose which would you would prefer, is there one size that you? 4.
Yeah.
And the 4 would have 16 servings based on the meal requirement. So we have all the simple recipes that you need with those on-trend flavors, like the spices kids are going for more, and then obviously like that, those Chipotle-like flavors that really kids are liking. With the clean ingredients, I know parents are wanting. So if you were gonna make the enchiladas, here's the recipe for that. You start with the enchilada filling. You would add your 2 whole grain tortillas, add your enchilada sauce, top it with an ounce of cheese for each portion, and your toppings, and that gives you 2 ounces of meat alternative, 3/4 cup vegetable, and 2 ounce equivalent whole grain. So you're able to get that whole meal just using the enchilada filling and those other ingredients. So this is my favorite way to have the lasagna filling, and if you want a sample of the lasagna filling, you should definitely, I'll give you this recipe card just because it's so much better than a lasagna and so much easier. So you start with the lasagna filling, you add like a whole grain penne, add fresh tomatoes, Parmesan and mozzarella cheeses, and you end up with your little bit over of the meat, and then 3/4 cup vegetable and 2 ounces of whole grain when you serve that. So it all kind of comes together with what you want, but it tastes homemade. It doesn't taste like a frozen lasagna. The burrito bowls that you just had, again, enchilada, brown rice, cheese, tomatoes or corn, and toppings, and now you're at what you need: 2 ounces of meat, 1 cup vegetable, and 2 ounces of whole grain. And just as a side note, when I was researching this company, I kind of nerded out a little bit, and I did like way more research, kind of because I didn't want to have a food company. And one of the most interesting, it's really hard. So I was like, why would I need an easy idea. But so one of the things I found is they call it the IKEA effect. and that people who have a hand in making something have a greater affection toward it. And so it applies to furniture. If you assemble your coffee table or your desk, it makes you feel proud and you kind of like it. And when it comes to food, when you assemble your, if you just like put a smoothie together, that was the study they did. They gave someone a ready-to-drink smoothie and they gave the other group the ingredients, they tossed it in a blender and hit on. The group that made the smoothie said it was healthier, tasted better, was lower in calories, and they were more likely to want to order it again. And so if you apply that to like a work environment, if you're just putting, the nuggets on a tray and heating it up, it doesn't always feel as good as if you're feeling like you're contributing and adding value cooking. And when for kids, if they have the toppings that they can self-serve and put on themselves, it makes the kids more excited to eat it, and the kids tend to want to try new things, and they say it tastes better. So, and that's my first grader now. But like, I don't know who that other little. He just got in there.
That's a great picture.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know very much about like food service, and because I have a background in online advertising. So I wanted to, and I'm very, very, very familiar with the problem of cooking dinner at home for a family on like Tuesday night. But I didn't know, how can I help people in your position, like working in kitchens and commercial food environments. So I've been volunteering once a week at my kids' cafeteria, serving lunch. So I'm a lunch lady one day a week, every Tuesday. And it's great, like I learn a ton. And it's wonderful, like everything that the nutrition services team does.
Yes.
But my one story, this is kind of unrelated, but what you guys do really does make a difference outside. So this is my little first grader. Last year we were at the Minnesota Zoo. We spent like, I don't know, way too long there. The kids got hungry, so I went to the hamburger stand in the Minnesota Zoo and we ordered, and they said, would you like fries, mandarin oranges, or carrots? And my son was kind of taking his time, and I was like, you want oranges or, fries, what do you want? And he goes, did she say carrots? I said, yeah. He goes, I want the baby carrots. I was like, what? And the cashier was also like, what? Anyway, he ordered the carrots. He ate the entire bag of baby carrots. He didn't dip it in ketchup, which, okay. Fine. I said, I didn't know you liked baby carrots. And he goes, I get them at school lunch. And now I know I like them. So he chose that, he made that choice, like out in the world, instead of fries, he went with the carrots just because of his exposure at school lunch. And I don't have anything against baby carrots, I just can't chew them with my braces, so I don't ever buy them. So yeah, like wow, what did you know?